Picture a wagon camp at night. The prairie is vast and black, coyotes singing in the distance. Families huddle in circles of dim, flickering light. But these aren't flashlights or lanterns. They're tiny flames licking the rim of crude grease lamps, fueled by animal fat. The smell of smoke and tallow clings to everything. This wasn't just camping. This was survival. And the gear they carried? Humble, heavy, handmade, often works better than the gadgets sold today. Let's uncover 5 forgotten tools of the pioneer trail that still hold lessons for the modern camper. The pioneers of the 19th century American frontier weren't outdoorsy by choice. They were carving homes from wilderness, relying on whatever gear they could make, barter, or haul across the plains. And every item they carried had to earn its keep. In a previous video, we explored some of the classic gear, the canvas tents, the Dutch ovens, the rifles. But today, we're digging deeper into the lesser-known tools that made frontier camping possible. Some were ingenious, others were crude, but all of them worked, and many still outperform their modern counterparts. So light your campfire, grab your bedroll, and join me as we step back into the world of grease lamps, hand-forged spits, and shot pouches. 1. Grease lamps. Before kerosene lanterns, pioneers used grease lamps. Small bowls of iron, clay, or even carved stone filled with animal fat. A strip of cloth served as the wick. The flames sputtered and smoked, casting a dim yellow glow. It smelled, a mix of smoke and burning tallow, but it worked. With nothing more than a scrap of fat from a butchered hog or deer, families could light their wagons or cabins. Grease lamps have been used for thousands of years, from Roman households to Viking longhouses. Pioneers inherited the same design: cheap, reliable, and nearly indestructible. Modern campers rely on batteries and LED lanterns, but when those fail, a simple grease lamp still burns strong. 2. Hand-forged cooking spits and tripods. Not every pioneer had a Dutch oven. Many relied on iron spits, rods forged by blacksmiths designed to hold meat or kettles over an open fire. Families also used folding tripods of iron, hammered together by frontier smiths. Picture the sound of meat sizzling, fat dripping into the coals, the smoke, the crackle, the smell of roasted venison. Cooking wasn't just about survival, it was about morale. Spits could roast game evenly, while tripods let pioneers hang kettles at the perfect height. Unlike flimsy modern collapsible grills, these tools were rugged, lasting decades with little more than an occasional hammer straightening.
3. Bedrolls and tick mattresses. Forget air mattresses and foam pads. On the trail, pioneers slept on tick mattresses, fabric sacks stuffed with straw, feathers, or dry leaves. The name tick comes from the ticking cloth that held the stuffing. On the move, a bedroll was simpler: wool blankets and oilcloth wrapped together and slung over the shoulder. Heavy? Yes, but practical. Wool stayed warm even when damp, and the tick mattress could be emptied and refilled at each stop. Imagine the crunch of straw beneath your back, the smell of prairie grass mixed with smoke from the evening fire. It wasn't luxury, but it worked. And unlike modern inflatable pads, a tick mattress never sprang a leak. 4. Powder measures and shot pouches. For pioneers who hunted daily, precision mattered. A rifle without proper powder measurement was useless. Too little and the shot fell short. Too much and the barrel might burst. Enter the powder measure, a small brass or horn tool used to portion exact charges of black powder. Alongside it was the shot pouch, often leather, worn at the hip, carrying balls or shot. Diaries from trappers mention powder measures as treasured possessions. Losing one could mean wasted ammunition and missed meals. Modern hunters buy preloaded cartridges, but in the 1800s, skill with a powder measure could decide whether a family ate that night. 5. Horn cups and wooden trenchers. Dinnerware may seem unimportant until you're hundreds of miles from a general store. Pioneers ate from wooden trenchers, flat dishes, and drank from horn cups, carved from cow or buffalo horn. Horn was durable, nearly unbreakable, and naturally waterproof when polished. Wooden trenchers were light, easy to carve, and doubled as cutting boards. The sound of wooden spoons scraping against trenchers, the clink of horn mugs filled with coffee, these were the rhythms of frontier meals. Compared to fragile tinware or today's cheap plastics, horn and wood were simple, sustainable, and tough.
Number 6. Trade-alls and sewing kits. Imagine your only pair of boots ripping open on a rocky trail. No replacement store for hundreds of miles. What do? Pioneers carried sewing kits, often called housewives, small rolls of cloth containing needles, thread, and pins. Alongside them, a trade-all, a sharp, pointed tool used to punch holes in leather and canvas. The awl was indispensable. With it, pioneers could mend harnesses, patch moccasins, or stitch wagon covers. Many awls were traded from native communities, where they'd long been valued for leatherwork. The sound of an awl punching hide, the tug of sinew thread, these were the rhythms of frontier repair. Compare that to modern outdoor gear. When nylon tears or plastic buckles snap, most campers throw them away. Pioneers fixed everything. Number 7. Ox yokes and harness gear. The real engines of westward expansion weren't rifles or wagons, they were oxen. And to harness that power, pioneers relied on yokes and leather harness gear. A yoke was simple, a carved wooden beam resting across the animals' necks, held with rawhide or iron fittings. Yet this simple design could transfer immense pulling power, enough to drag tons of supplies across mountains and deserts. The creak of leather straps, the groan of wood under strain, the slow rhythm of hooves in dust. This was the soundtrack of migration. Without yokes, wagons went nowhere. Today's campers might rely on engines and trailers, but ox yokes remind us even the humblest tools can move mountains, quite literally. Number 8. Compasses and pocket sundials. On the vast plains where every horizon looked the same, pioneers needed more than instinct. Many carried compasses, small brass instruments with a quivering needle guiding them west. Some wealthier travelers even owned pocket sundials, which could tell the time by aligning with the sun. These weren't toys, they were survival gear. A wrong turn could mean weeks lost, food wasted, lives endangered. The feel of a compass in hand, cool brass glinting in sunlight, was reassurance. It connected pioneers to unseen order, a steady north when everything else was chaos. Modern campers rely on GPS, but batteries die, signals fail. A compass, simple and internal, never does. Number 9. Homemade soak kits. Life on the trail was dirty. Dust, sweat, animal hair, and cooking grease clung to everything. Disease was a constant threat, and so many families carried the means to make soap. Animal fat saved from butchering, lye leached from wood ashes, and kettles to boil them together. The result was rough, caustic soap, strong enough to strip dirt from skin, clean wool blankets, or scour iron kettles. The smell was sharp, almost bitter, but it meant health. Homemade soap wasn't just about comfort, it prevented lice, infection, and sickness. Compare that to today's scented gels and body wipes, pleasant, yes, but useless when they run out. On the frontier, you could always make more soap. Finally, number 10. Rawhide lashings and rope work. Finally, the unsung hero, rawhide. When soaked, rawhide strips were pliable. When they dried, they shrank into iron-hard bands. Pioneers used them as lashings for wagon repairs, bindings for tools, or even makeshift hinges and fasteners. The snap of wet rawhide drying in the sun was the sound of improvisation. If a wheel cracked or a yoke split, rawhide could hold it together until a blacksmith was found. Today, campers use duct tape and bungee cords, but rawhide was stronger, more adaptable, and available wherever animals roamed. It was the universal repair kit of the 19th century. So next time you pack for the outdoors, remember the best survival gear may not be the shiniest or newest. It may be the oldest, the tools carved, stitched, and forged by those who walked the trail before us,